and talking about seed, that's another terminology that is often continuation of a thought. Absolutely. Absolutely. But even is seed is also a term that is misunderstood in the scriptures, and people take it to teach falsely because they rip things out of context. Now let's read this verse in context. Okay, let's read this verse in context. So that's going to cause up to go up a little bit. All right. I think where we want to start for this verse, if I remember correctly, verse 17. Okay, context is important. Okay, so if we read just verse 21, and as our quote pointed out, the word "and" suggests the continuation of a thought, and that word in itself will force you to want to go back. Okay, it's just like the word "then" in the scriptures, or the word "but," or the word "therefore." If you were reading some translation where they say "therefore," if you see "therefore," then when you see that word in itself, that word tells you you need to go back to see what he's talking about, because "therefore" suggests a transition from what? Okay, so it's important to understand the impact of these words, and what, how they're applied and what they should cause us to do. But a lot of people have no understanding of that. Okay, but they speak as if they know it, and yet they're totally blind to those facts. Okay, so that word "and" suggests the continuation of a thought, and it should force us to go back in order to gain a knowledge of context. Okay, but if we should be big-headed, then we could just look at that verse, because I gave this lady that verse, and she says, yes, forever means eternity. Okay, and then I responded to her. I said, "Akot, are you saying that in that verse forever means eternity?" And then she hasn't responded since then. Okay, so let's go back and let context interpret the meaning of the word. Okay, yes, it is a code. So verse 17, and Yahuah spoke to Moshe, and you shall make a basin of bronze with its stand also of bronze for washing, and you shall put it between the tent of meeting and the altar, and shall put water in it, and Aharon and his sons shall wash from it their hands and their feet. Okay, when they go into the tent of meeting, or when they come near the altar to attend to burn an offering made by fire to Yahuah, they wash with water, lest they die. And they shall wash their hands and their feet, lest they die, and it shall be a law forever to them, to him and his seed throughout their generations. So the question is, and there are several things in this passage that lets us know that forever there does not mean forever as in eternity. Remember that what these people tell you is that forever means eternity. Whenever you see forever in the scriptures, the people who teach that you must wear tzitzit because in that command it says forever, they tell you that forever, whenever it's used in the scriptures, means eternity. I've seen that said over and over again. But that is false. There are several things in this passage that we're now reading that lets us know that that is not the case. Okay? So, number one, what are some of the things that tells us that forever don't always mean eternity in this particular verse? Well, let's think about context. The context here is of the Levitical priesthood. Okay? The context of this command telling them that they should wash is within the context of the Levitical priesthood. Okay? Now, the same people that teaches that nothing has changed in Torah, okay? The same people that teach that you must wear tzitzit tells you that nothing has changed in Torah. And I say to them that yes, there has been several changes in Torah. And here are one of those changes. Okay, here's one of those changes. What's the change here? The change that we see here is a change in the priestly covenant. Okay? You see, this command, wherefore ever is used, was directed to the Levitical priesthood. Okay? Do we still have a Levitical priesthood, or has the priesthood been changed according to the scriptures? And according to the scriptures, the priesthood has been changed. The priesthood was changed from Levi to Yahudah. Okay? That's one change in Torah. Okay? That's one change in Torah. When you read Torah, you will find that the priesthood was of the Levites. But even in Torah, Yahuah tells us that he is going to change the priesthood. Now, he did not change it within that period of Torah, but he eventually changed it. But he told us that he was going to change it. And even at the beginning in Bereshit, he tells us, he prophesied that the priesthood would be changed. Because when you go to Bereshit chapter 49, you will see that the priesthood will be changed. And so, Yahusha, thank you, Aki, Yahusha is now our high priest. Why? Because the priesthood has been changed. Is Yahusha from the Levites? No. Yahusha is from Yahudah. Okay? And so when you go to Bereshit chapter 49, you will see that he says that he is going to bring, that Yahudah will always be the scepter. Okay? That his throne, that his scepter will not leave Yahudah. That is prophetic of the change that would come in the priesthood. The priesthood was changed. Okay, so this lady told me that I was a heretic because I said that there has been a change. There have been several changes in Torah. Okay, but you see, the problem here is that you have people teaching and they have not, all they're doing, they read a couple verses here and they read a couple verses there and they feel like they're equipped to go teach something, and they have not read the scriptures contextually, much more to study the scriptures contextually. Okay, they have not read the scriptures contextually, much more to study the scriptures contextually. There is a difference between reading the scriptures and studying the scriptures. But reading the scriptures is very important, and more so studying it is important. But you cannot study without you read. Okay, and both must be done contextually. So these people have not read the scriptures contextually, neither have they studied the scriptures contextually. So when you say things, because they read a verse here and then they jump 5 chapters or 5 books and they read another verse there, they come proclaiming something and you tell them that goes contrary to the scriptures. They want to point to the verses that they read, one verse here and then 5 books later another verse there, and so on and so forth, and tell you this is in the scripture. It's in the scriptures, but you are ripping it out of context.
A lot of what they telling you ain't even something they read. It's something they heard.
Yeah, absolutely. And as my wife just pointed out, a lot of what they're saying and a lot of what they tell you is not even something they've read, but simply something that they have heard. Okay?
So now that's why you asking for scriptures and you asking them to break it down to you scripturally and contextually, and they can't.
Absolutely.
When they use those same scriptures that they was given, you know, to prove what they're now saying, it ain't making sense to them, so they stuck. Absolutely.
And you know, it's sad. It's sad for me to watch. It's sad to me when somebody to see somebody that they say something and it's incorrect, and genuinely you're trying to show them that's really incorrect. You know, take a look at this. And the response is, I have no interest, you know, and they just turn against you. You know,
like that.
it's sad.
Now that we mention it, you know what I mean?
You know, it's sad for me. It's sad for me to watch, because my desire is to see us all come into the oneness of Yah's truth. Okay, you know, after I posted something about this subject last night, this guy who I know is in disagreement with me, he didn't mention my name, but he posted a statement, and he said that it's sad how there's so much confusion, and so many people teaching all kinds of stuff in the body of Yahuah. When how can it be that Yahuah tells one person something, and then another person come and say that's not what that is, and so on and so forth. So my response to him was, the problem comes in, Aki, when you have individuals saying thus saith Yahuah, but thus saith Yahuah does not line up with his written contextual word. You see, if anybody comes saying thus saith Yahuah, then whatever they say thus saith Yahuah must line up with what's written. Okay, if it does not line up with what's written, then it's false. Okay, there is nothing new under the sun. There is no new doctrine. There is nothing new. There is no new word. Okay, and so when people come talking about Yahuah told me that I must wear, because I've been told that, Yahuah told me that I must wear tzitzit, and when I wear it, I really feel set apart, and I feel his presence. You know the problem there is? The problem there is that even though some of us have come out of the church, we have brought with us that emotional ghost, that emotional spirit. Okay? And so we still carry that that sense of spookiness, that sense of what drives people to do that? They are very boy, the word's not coming to me. Yeah, like, you know, you sneeze and somebody say bless you, and they yes, superstition. Thank you, Alicia. Superstition. Okay, they have all these superstition.